Welcome back to the Dolor Factor. With me is Jeannette. Jeannette has said already she is a nurse, but above all, I see she is a mother. Now, at this point, we kind of assume that you just have one child, but you don't, right? You have another son.
Yeah, 2 boys.
Okay. Your other son, is he residing?
He's all right. He's healthy.
He's
thank
healthy.
God. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
married. He has a kid.
Mm-hmm. And quite supportive, I would have. Good. Okay. So I think earlier on I did touch on, being a nurse, how everything affected you because you would have known more than most of us what the diagnosis meant and the procedure and so on and so forth. But as a mother, how did it feel when you finally realized, well, you know what, my son has this disease and I've got to do my best to keep strong for him? What were your emotions like at that time?
It was rough at the beginning, but I have prayed over it, and God is giving me the strength to go ahead and look after him. It has been rough, very rough. Because going to work knowing he's sick, sometimes I have to leave him in the house on mornings at time he's not feeling well, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it has been rough for the past years, and
when he's not
handling it.
When he's not feeling well in those days when you had to leave him alone, and go to work, what was he experiencing?
At that time, sometimes up to now, off and on, his blood sugar would drop on mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to get up. I can never get a full night rest. I have to get up during the night, sometimes 3-4 times, just to check on him, just to make sure he's okay. And there are times he's not okay. I have to, help him through the night. Like if his blood sugar is low, I have to try and give him something to drink to make sure he's okay, stay with him until he's okay. Then I will go back to bed. Mm-hmm. That's how it has been, from the time, he was diagnosed as a diabetic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then now he's on dialysis. I still have to monitor him.
How often does he have his dialysis treatment?
3 times a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Fridays.
How long for?
5 years now.
Wow. And when he's actually there at the hospital, what's the period of time that he's there for?
4 hours.
And I'm sure you're feeling every second of those.
Oh yes, I have to keep calling him to make sure he's okay. Sometimes before he goes to dialysis, he would be vomiting, sometimes have a diarrhea. When he's on the machine, I have to keep calling him to make sure he's okay, until he's finished. Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there is any way at all in all of this that you would be spoiling him or mothering him too much?
I would say maybe overprotecting him, because knowing he's sick, I'm always around him, mm-hmm. On mornings, if he's asleep before I go to work, I have to wake him up to make sure he's okay. There are times he'll say to me, "Mommy, why are you disturbing me?" Mm-hmm. I said, well, I have to tell him, but I have to wake you up to make sure you're okay before I leave the house. Mm-hmm. I do that every morning. Mm-hmm. And I don't think sometimes you don't like it, but I have to, as a mm-hmm. mother and as a nurse, to make sure, he's not in a coma or he's not well.
Do you always keep in touch with the doctor? Because I know you're part of the association with Dr. Clarke, right?
Yes.
And the doctor will be coming back to tell us a little bit more about that. But do you think that sometimes that you become more than just a nurse and the mother? You actually perhaps become a specialist, I suppose, in your son's condition?
Well, as a nurse, you'll use the medical term
yes.
off and on, but I don't go overboard. I just, if there's something I am not sure about, I will call call Dr. Clarke, mm-hmm. and explain to her and tell her, well, such and such a thing is happening to Pert. Can you help me out and whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you could do anything differently, is there anything at all that you would do differently?
No, I wouldn't do anything differently, no. Mm-hmm. Yes. I go according to what doctor asked me to do. I don't go overboard and do things on my own. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But how do you find other people deal with what's going on in your life? Are they very supporting? Do they understand sometimes if you can't come into work on time? You know, do people understand what it really means to have?
Yes, they do. They do, especially
really
my
good.
co-workers. Yeah, the area I work, my supervisor, they know I have a sick child. I call them and tell them I can't come into work because he's not well. They'll understand. And my family too have been very supportive too.
But how does it feel, you know, as a mother, when your child is suffering and you, apart from assisting, because that's what you do, you assist, you can't help. How does that feel?
It's rough, very heartbreaking, especially when he's not well, you know, and to just watch him, you know, suffering, it is rough. But I try to cope with it, you know.
He appears to be a good boy, so to speak.
Yeah,
good boy. Has he always been so? Oh, he did mention earlier that you know, he was a period of time.
He has always been a good child from very young age. The only time I couldn't really control him, as he said, when he finished school, during school, when he was at school, I used to, you know, control his diet. But after school, after he finished high school, I got him a car. He got a job, and he started, you know, going out, you know, having friends around. So that's the time he went, you know, a little overboard. So at that time I couldn't control him, but he still used to listen to me. I used to talk to him, saying, you know, you're not well. Be careful. You know what you're doing and whatever. But
you mentioned before that your faith was your strength.
oh yes,
It keeps you going. Were you raised in faith?
yes,
Everyone?
all of us.
And your son too?
Yes, all of us.
And how do you practice your faith? And I ask that because, you know, sometimes people just go to a faith when there is something wrong.
By praying, going to church, and when I ask God for something and I thank, you know, He's helping me. He's giving me the strength to cope with what I'm facing with Him, you know. And my husband is a, you know, prayer person too. So I guess that's how we, you know.
Now, how do you relax? You must try to relax. I'm sure your son says to you, I know the terminology the young people use, chill. I mean, you say chill.
Well, he always said that to me, "Mommy, relax, relax." But as a mother, you cannot relax, especially if you're you know, if he's not well and seeing him, he's vomiting or something is wrong. I cannot be relaxed. I have to, you know.
Yeah, but think of it this way. If you did try to relax or do the things that you enjoy doing and he sees that, it gives him some relief as well. Because it's a two-way thing when you love someone, right? That they worry about you, you worry about them. And if he keeps saying to you, Mom, relax, Mom, relax. If he sees you one day relaxing, it gives him some relief, right?
Yes.
Yes. So do you think you could think a little about that to try and do something
little,
for him?
Recreation. I go out with my friends sometimes. I go by my family. We do have, you know, a get together, you know, sessions together.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.